be warned that this review will contain spoilers for the Mandalorian finale and possibly for the Mandalorian season 2 as well. Now, what an episode this was. This season of The Mandalorian has been about each episode basically topping the previous one, but now this episode has set the bar so high that I don't know how they are going to top that in season 3. But now, right off the bat, the first thing that I just have to get off my chest or have to start with is Luke Skywalker. I don't know how you make a grown man get shivers, cry, and shout at the same time. The handling and the usage of Luke Skywalker was just incredible in this episode, but I would like to get onto that a bit later. First off, I would like to start with a few criticisms that I had for the episode. These are rather minor things, but I think they add up. The first thing is, how did they know how to track that shuttle, that Lambda shuttle, at the beginning? We don't really get an explanation for that, and the show has done that previously a lot, where the episodes are just start off as like an in medias res or Deus Ex Machina moments. I think a few lines of dialogue explaining how they got to those things and how they know where Bo-Katan is would be a nice addition to just make it feel more natural. Even though we didn't always get those in Star Wars, I think for the scope of the show and for just the long time enjoyment, this would serve the plot in a rather positive way. And I think that was like all of my nitpicks, these two things, how they got to the Lambda shuttle and how did they know that that professor or that scientist was on that specific shuttle, or was it an accident? I don't think it really matters in this sense. But going on to the rest of the episode, I loved how they used Boba Fett's character and the whole rescue mission or plan, if you will. I thought that was a well thought out and a fresh way to enter an Imperial starship. But one of the things that really stuck out to me, and I believe that was intentional, because if you pay attention to the dialogue, they actually used that. The moping down of stormtroopers were just killing them like they are nothing, like they are cattle basically. And that is later referenced by Moff Gideon, that Cara Dune and the Mandalorians and Fennec Shan are basically like savages. And I kind of like that even the villain is not necessarily a cold-blooded killer, or he doesn't seem to be one at first. But prior to that, Din Djarin actually met with a Dark Trooper. It was a well-executed and just a well-done representation of what a Dark Trooper actually is power-wise and what it takes to defeat the Dark Trooper. Like, Din Djarin was struggling to defeat even one. And that, of course, was later the case when a certain person had to come and rescue them. But what was interesting about this episode is that you thought that the duel between Moff Gideon and Din Djarin would take center stage, like the Beskar Spear and the Darksaber duel. But it really didn't take center stage at all. It was just another part of the story, and this is why The Mandalorian is still able to surprise us, the audience, is because when we believe a certain piece of gear would be the main driving force or the main part of the next episode, it really is just a small piece of the puzzle. And even that, I think that duel was done rather well. It was great to see kind of a lightsaber wielder and just a Mandalorian battling it out again, even though we saw that in episode 5 with Ahsoka and Din Djarin just for like a few seconds. But here it was kind of extended. And then talking about the bridge scenes and the Dark Trooper scenes, that lone X-Wing, it gave away so much, but yet it doesn't necessarily give it away for the general audience, because the general audience doesn't really know what that lone X-Wing represents. But for us fans, I think that was when we got the shivers, and we didn't really believe that it's going to happen. But we actually got to see Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, played by Mark Hamill, which I'm going to talk about later, the CGI. But it was incredible that the first time you actually see Luke Skywalker, you are seeing through it the eyes of the characters themselves to a camera in general, and that was one of the things that was done extremely well with Luke Skywalker. His introduction, the whole music, the reaction of the characters, even Moff Gideon's reaction to the Jedi was just this pure and utter disbelief that no, this is not possible. The Jedi are dead. And just his whole introduction and how he disposed of Dark Troopers was what his representation in the Disney trilogy should have been like, although he is much younger than in those films. I think it was just done extremely well, and I would love to see more of that going into the future seasons and the future shows of Star Wars. And one thing that maybe was a bit weird is he had his hood on, and when he took his hood off, I think we didn't really know how they would do Luke Skywalker's younger face, but I think they actually done what was the best thing to do, is to pull a Leia from Rogue One, but it actually worked this time around. It didn't necessarily look as jarring as it did with Leia or Tarkin in Rogue One, but here it felt much more natural, even though you could tell that Luke's face was a bit off when you see it in a reverse shot from Din Djarin's face. But then again, Luke Skywalker was handled so well in this, and I just gotta give props to the show for handling the Star Wars universe in such a way that it deserves to be handled. The fact that they have built up the Jedi as this legend, as these legendary warriors, and they have delivered on that when we saw the entrance of Luke Skywalker. But another important point is that Din Djarin finally can say goodbye to Grogu. It was done in such a way that I think was just perfect. And again, this episode was on point with the execution itself. And you gotta give credit to the director, Peter Reed. And I hope he does more Star Wars stuff down the line. And Din Djarin finally takes off his helmet. And Grogu and him finally have this personal time between them. They finally can say goodbye. And what makes Grogu actually join Luke, funnily enough, is R2-D2. And again, casual fans might not know or remember this, but it was told that the Grogu was trained in the Jedi Temple, and I believe that he trained or met Anakin Skywalker as well, and he knew R2 because of that, of course. And R2 was a friendly face, therefore Grogu felt at ease with Luke. And that ending scene between the two, the Din and Grogu, was again just done so well. And finishing the episode, one of the biggest theories going into season 3 is what's gonna happen with Din Djarin, because now he has the Darksaber and he has taken off his helmet, so he's becoming more of a ruler of the Mandalorian people. But there is a post-credit scene in the episode with none other than Boba Fett. I'm going to insert the picture of him on Jabba's throne, and wow, what a tease. Like, Lucasfilm has to be given props for that they actually didn't show this at the presentation that they held like a week before this, but that they would rather be it a creative decision and present it like as a part of the show, as of course Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. This episode was just an incredible way to honor Star Wars and still tell a great story within the universe, and just wow. I don't know what to expect from season 3. All I know that it's going to be utterly amazing, and I cannot wait for it. Thank you for watching this video, but what do you guys think about the Mandalorian season finale? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you have enjoyed the video, please leave a like and maybe share it with your friends. But until then, remember to keep it insightful.